Hi, everyone. I'm Maren Macaluso, the Director of Membership for the Leadership Now project, and we welcome you to Leadership Now Zoomcast series. We launched this series to make the important conversations we're having with Leadership Now members and partners accessible. These are intended to be shorter and more digestible than our live briefings, allowing members to view at any time and distribute to your networks. To begin, I want to share a little bit about Leadership Now. We are a membership organization of business and thought leaders taking action to fix American democracy, advance evidence-based public policy, build an economy that works for all, and increase diversity in government. We were founded and incubated by a group of Harvard Business School alumni in 2017, and today our national membership consists of business, academic, and policy leaders who are committing their personal resources, skills, and networks to this cause. I'm so excited today to be speaking with Kristin Rowe-Finkbeiner. She is the Executive Director, CEO, and co-founder of MomsRising and the board president of the MomsRising Education Fund. She's been involved in public policy and grassroots engagement for more than 2 decades and has received numerous accolades for her work. She's also an award-winning author of books and articles, frequent public speaker, media contributor, and host of the radio program Breaking Through with Kristin Rowe-Finkbeiner. Kristin is also a former political director, policy analyst, and political strategy consultant for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Kristin, we're so happy to have you here today, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so delighted to be on to share that moms are rising in such powerful ways, and moms are moving mountains toward the November election. MomsRising is an organization of over 1 million members, including members in every state in the nation. We're taking on the most critical issues facing women, mothers, and families, and we're opening avenues for people to make change, with our mission being to increase economic security, decrease discrimination, and build a country where everyone can thrive. We're working in 4 key areas: policy change, culture change. We actually are an accidental media outlet. We have actually exceeded over 1 billion with a B impressions on Twitter last year alone. Corporate change, and also electoral change. And we do this knowing that moms are busy. The majority of moms are in the labor force, and about half of moms are the primary breadwinner in their family. So moms are busy, and they have often little time for engagement. So we meet moms where they are, and we give them many delicious ways to participate in democracy and to pick what they have time to do in that time period in that week. So I want to brag for a moment and say that using the layer cake organizing strategy, moms have been able to win against all odds. We've been able to do things like pass at the state level really strong paid family medical leave policies. And we've been able to do things like fight back against the Affordable Care Act being overturned in Congress, even when the leadership of both the House, the Senate, and the White House wanted to overturn the Affordable Care Act. And against all odds, MomsRising and many other organizations came together and held the line on healthcare. So our track record using this layer cake organizing is spectacular, and you can see more information on our wins on our website. But what's important right now in this moment, with November coming up quickly, is how we're going to use these strategies to help move forward democracy in November 2020. We are working right now to make sure that we have the resources that we need to do both a C3 program so that we can reach all of those low frequency mom voters, and a C4 program so that we can reach swing voters and also reach the low frequency voters with very targeted and specific information that they need to make sure that they get to the ballot box in time. It's a big year. We're really excited about the opportunity for moms to make a huge difference and an impact in the election. And of course, we welcome all resources to help make sure that we can reach every single mom who needs to be reached with information and activities. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you for lifting the power of moms.
Thank you so much, Kristin. Really appreciate all the incredible work and the organizing that you're doing. It's very inspiring. A few follow-up questions for you. Kristin, on this centennial of, for women's suffrage, we realized that a couple of things. Although it's an important milestone and we celebrate women being granted the right to vote, we realize that first of all, a lot of important groups were left out of suffrage initially, specifically women of color, and you spoke to that a little bit in the second half of your presentation. Would like to know more about how we think about ensuring that those groups don't get left behind. And then secondly, this pandemic has been called the women's pandemic because women are disproportionately impacted, have been more likely to have lost their jobs, and the economic implications of that are significant. Can you speak to how that is impacting your goals and your programming as an organization?
Yeah, you're right on the mark saying that we have a significant crisis in the United States of America. And at MomsRising, we know that there's no gender justice without also racial justice and economic justice. And one never, absolutely ever happens without the others. So we weave working on those aspects all together through all of our programs. And there's no better way to show this than in some numbers. And so I want to share some numbers with you about the wage gap. Right now, being a mom is a greater predictor of wage and hiring discrimination than being a woman. And women of color, because of structural racism, experience significant compounded wage and hiring discrimination that is absolutely jaw-droppingly awful. What that means in real life is that Latina moms are paid just 45 cents to a white dad's dollar. Native American moms are paid just 47 cents to a white dad's dollar. Black moms just 50 cents. And we see this wage gap also compounding the harm of the COVID pandemic. As you said, we have a she-cession, as IWPR calls it, which means that women are being pushed out of the labor force at a higher rate than men, and women of color are experiencing compounded harms because of structural racism. On top of that, we're also seeing compounded health impacts, where we're seeing communities of color having more fatalities due to COVID, due to less experience with being able to have access to healthcare. So a lot, and many other factors. So a lot of what's happening right now is showing the importance of always addressing gender justice, racial justice, and economic justice at the same time, and centering the people who are the closest to the problem as also being the closest to the solutions. And that's why the Stories program at MomsRising, having our members testify, having our members speak out, having our members lead and being beacons of hope in local communities across the country is so very important and so very powerful.
As we move toward the election, I think one of the things we're seeing is a systematic hobbling of the post office, which becomes very relevant in an election that's going to feature a lot of mail-in voting, and also very relevant to your postcard writing campaign. So I'm wondering, what you've seen with that campaign in terms of issues around postcards getting where they're going on time, and to what extent MomsRising is weighing in on the post office and funding the post office.
Yeah, we're very worried about Donald Trump's attack on the U.S. Postal Service. We know that not only do moms, dads, and people need the Post Service, we also know that a lot of medicine is carried through the Postal Service, and we know we're in a pandemic. And so it's clearly an attack on our democracy. It's an attack on people being able to vote by mail in a pandemic. And moms are outraged, and moms are reaching out to every member of Congress, and in particular to the U.S. Senate, because the U.S. House has passed legislation to protect the post office. So we've had calls going in. We've had people participating in actions. We've had people sending letters and writing letters to the editor. Moms are also making sure that they are very aware of vote by mail deadlines. And we're making sure that every single person in the country is aware of the vote by mail deadlines, and that we're pushing out right now that when you get your ballot, you need to fill it out and turn it around and mail it in on the same day. So we want to really make sure that people mail their vote by mail ballots in on the same day. So we have actually a 5-part text program to our voter universe, starting this week, actually, and going through, here's how you get your vote by mail ballot. Here's the deadlines for your vote by mail ballot. Make sure you mail it back in immediately. Okay, your deadline passed. Really looking at the vote by mail ballot and really looking at supporting the U.S. Postal Service. It's ridiculous. And one thing, though, that I want to add is that moms know ridiculousness when we see it. And so what Donald Trump is doing with the U.S. Postal Service is sort of like a temper tantrum that we might see with a toddler when they think they're going to lose a toy. And so I think what's happening with the U.S. Postal Service is really opening the eyes of more moms who may have been on the line who say, you know, I've seen this before. This happened at, you know, like the terrible twos. And we're going to maybe change our mind about how we think about Donald Trump in new ways, because this is nothing but a tantrum because the president thinks he might lose the election. And so we are rising to make sure that democracy rises as well.
As you look across the various initiatives that you're working on and across all the states that you are in, Kristin, where do you see maybe the key inflection points in this election and this effort, and where do you see like the need for incremental resources that can help some of the programs that you're working on and some of the goals that you're trying to achieve sort of get across that finish line?
Thank you. The good news is, so far, we've had more volunteers coming from our membership. So we have a membership that's over 1 million people. We have members in every state in the nation. And our members are rising to do things like handwrite those postcards to other low-frequent voter moms, and to do things like make those calls, send those texts. And so we have two groups of moms really that we're working with. The moms in our membership and the moms who are in our voter universe that we're pulling from the voter file. And we're reaching over 3 million moms in the voter file who are low frequency voters. So right now we have a huge need of resources to be able to do more of the sending of the letters, more of this making the calls, more of the text, so that we can reach more moms. We're right now covered to reach moms in 7 states. We'd like to be covered to reach moms in that layered approach in 12 states. So we're looking for increased resources. We have the volunteers. We need the fuel to reach moms in all 12 states that we have in our sites. And I think we can do it. You know, we still have some time to get those resources in. We definitely have the volunteers to make change happen. And there's a will for huge change in our country. So we're welcome all additional help, whether it's by volunteering or by contributing.
Great. Thank you, Kristin, so much for your time. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you.